All right, hey Matt, thanks for coming in, man. I think we found some good options to get the back to start playing ball. We came up with 4 stretches and 2 strength moves. I want to go through those real quick, man. I know they're kind of reviewed for you. Stretches, definitely hip flexor. You want to get a hip flexor stretch involved. I'm not going to get too picky on, standing, kneeling, seated, kind of how you want to do it, but kind of with everything here, I want you to engage that hip flexor stretch, and then from there, start to move other components around, right? Add in some low back rotation, add in some low back extension and flexion, kind of cat-cow in this position. Again, we know the hip flexor is tight, which is great, we're addressing that, but we also want it to carry over into the back movements as well. Maybe some, squats on the right leg, get a little more depth, whatever you want to add to it is great. Again, the rules we came up with today, we don't want both the legs doing the same thing with any movement. If we're going to get down to a squat, that's wonderful, then we want to add some weight shifting, we want to add some rotation work, always kind of messing around with the 3D dynamics here. You're not playing 2D anymore. So hip flexors one, we had that leg rotation stretch. We did while lying down, kind of instead of that old twisting version or that that crossed over one, I liked that right leg just really reaching. You were super tight going that way compared to the other side. So just getting that right hip / low back to kind of play ball and open up. Again, you can do reps. You can go out here and hang out and then add something else. Doesn't matter to me. Just that motion in general needs some work. We did this was just you and me, grabbing the rope and then pulling. And again, I want you to keep doing that. It sounds like you've been doing that a lot, kind of in other rehabs. But we had some luck adding some rotation work throughout the back. We add a little bit of left to right translation, especially going this way to really open up that right side. So again, play around. We did a cross leg version. I think this is the one you really were limited with / gave us some good relief. So forward flexion with TRX, bands, ropes, buddies, but let's just add some other components with the hip and the low back. And then the last stretch we had was just that kind of IT band, holding on to something, leaning out, kind of that, we're trying to mimic that bowl, right? So kind of leg in front stretch, leg behind stretch, knowing you can kind of maintain the stretch and then kind of do some reps. So I don't care how you progress that one really. And then we had 2 strength moves that were just, I think they address the hips in a relatively fun way. I know you've done a lot of rotation work and band work. My only advice there was, especially with that left hip, to get it ready for this activity that's upcoming. Doing some single leg rotation on the left work, getting it used to those dynamics that it hasn't had in a little while. So kind of mimicking, mimicking golf swing, any sort of angle, wood chopper, anything's great. Just your single leg, or if you don't feel like you don't quite have the balance, just more of a stagger, right? The left leg is weight bearing a lot more than the right leg right now. Just not everything has to be even like you've done in the past. Go ahead and hit that both ways probably. And then the last one I had was, we talked about bridges. Again, bridges is going to be a great way to kind of manipulate both the hips and the low back at the same time. Single leg is obviously tough with the right-left situation you have right now, so I kind of like this just weight shifting back and forth, challenging the hip musculature, challenging that low back and that core to kind of do its job and maintain, especially as you get into tougher angles here and bigger shifts. Like you can do that one leg and then kind of shift over or do some up and downs from there. So again, I like that bridge position for you because you kind of have this built-in forward right now in these hip flexors, and a lot of the work you're doing here is this forward. I want you to open up, man, really bridge, back arches, hip flexor stretch, any of this where you can kind of open up the front. I think that's the biggest thing that your left hip is missing, is that hip flexor. It just happens to, what a coincidence, when that's tight also seems to be what's pissing off the back. So I really think you can kill 2 birds, 1 stone by addressing that hip flexor in a really aggressive manner. One last thing, we talked about maybe, I know you talked about like icy hot or patches and things like that. I think for golf upcoming, if I was gonna add something to my back, I would want more mechanical support as opposed to doing the pain stuff. Maybe an ace wrap real tight. You can buy kind of a sport, a back brace, sporty, I just want compression. I think that compression, imagine when I was digging in today, that compression feels good, gets those muscles warmed up. I like that more than the pain side. So if you wanna mimic, try an ace wrap around real tight and see if that loosens up your swing a little bit, might be worth a shot. But that's the path I'm thinking right now. But after Friday's round, might go back to the icy hot. We'll see how we're feeling on for Friday. Take care, brother.